Hey guys, it's Danny. Today we are going to intervene yet again on this little orchid. This is a continuation of the I don't know what to repot my Phalaenopsis orchids series that I started a few months ago, telling you that I am running out of sphagnum moss and I have so many Phalaenopsis that, you know what, I'm gonna try some other types of mixes. And I tried what's it called, perlite, and I've also tried coconut husk mixes here, and I've reached the same conclusion. It ain't working. No, it doesn't work out for me. So today we are going to save this poor little orchid that looks absolutely horrendous. I'm gonna give you close-ups and we're gonna pot it in good old bark and sphagnum moss, pretty much. Because good news, one, I have the most wonderful viewers who sent me a few bags of sphagnum moss, so now I have, but also I did check Orchids Deluxe again and they stocked up on moss and it's cheaper. It's not like 20 euros the small pack. It's like 10 euros or something, which is better, you know? It's much better. So I'm like, well, apparently sphagnum moss is going back in price. And as many of you told me in my previous video, it is not unsustainable. It is actually sustainable to have sphagnum moss, especially when it comes to certain brands or certain locations, which is good. Don't confuse sphagnum moss with sphagnum peat moss. That's something else. That's, you know, peat bogs, and that's a whole different discussion. So yeah, I'm happy to go back to my trusted sphagnum moss. I'm still not gonna use full sphagnum moss because these are big girls and they will take up a lot of it, but I will use combinations, right? So don't worry, little one, we shall get you out of here today. Before we start, don't forget to give this video a like if you end up enjoying it, and why not subscribe? I post multiple times a week and it's completely free, but if you're feeling a little extra about it and you can and you wish to further support the channel, do consider becoming a member and getting access to some exclusive perks and behind the scenes. You can also visit the affiliate links down below. You can also check out the merch. We have orchid mugs at the moment and I will make more in the future. And also you can use the super thanks option below my videos. Righty, let's get you in closer. You don't need to see my face now. I'm gonna get my tray, get my gloves, you know the drill. Alrighty then, let's see what we have. Oh no, yes, we don't have good news in the pot, quite at all. We don't even have roots in the pot, quite at all. Now, this thing is watered at the same time as with the other ones, and it should be dry by now, but it's not. And that's because we just don't have enough roots to absorb the moisture. And definitely, I really didn't need to water it as much as I did. But I was expecting to have more roots by now, and we're not. Well, that's unfortunate. So all of these mushy roots, they need to go. Did I show you? We do have brand new roots. Can you even see? We do have brand new roots, so the orchid has started to grow vegetatively, which is great. But yeah, this medium is not what it should be. And also, because it's not so wicking, I apparently cannot water it like I water all of my other orchids. I cannot rely that it will soak up whatever I leave in the bottom. Whatever I leave in the bottom will pretty much stay in the bottom. So coconut husk is really not as absorbing as sphagnum moss. I was hoping it would be to some extent, but it's just not. It's just not acting like it. So a much better watering technique for it will be to water it at the sink, let it completely dry, and then put it back. I don't do things like that because I don't have time to do things like that. And definitely it doesn't work out for this setup, my way of doing things. So if I would like to use it, I would have to go to the sink and water it there and let it drain and then put it back, which is a very like normal and typical thing to do. It's absolutely fine if you do things like that, and actually for beginners, especially if you have like a few orchids, that's the healthier thing to do. But when you have a few hundred orchids, it's not really realistic. So that's why I use sphagnum moss, because sphagnum can pull whatever water is left in reservoirs and things, it can pull it up and spread it evenly throughout its mass, let's say. And that's one thing that I absolutely adore about sphagnum moss. This apparently does not work like that quite at all. All the water stays at the bottom, as you saw, and it just stays there. It doesn't get picked up as much, given This orchid didn't even have too many roots to help with that picking up of the water. I was actually expecting it to have more roots, but yeah, judging by the leaves, I kind of suspected it wasn't the case, so I decided to intervene. Definitely my style of doing things doesn't work out with this potting mix. Also, my schedule did not work out with this potting mix, and it's not the only Phalaenopsis. I have 2 more potted in this mix, and it's just not, I don't have synergy with it. It's just not working out. So in the end, if things are not optimal and your watering technique is not good for your setup, this happens. So yeah, did not work out for me. Not to say that coconut husk is a bad mix. It's actually good and many people use it. It's definitely just not for me. Right, so I'm gonna get rid of all of this mess here and I'll be back with the very same pot. I think I will reuse the pot, but definitely with a much more suitable for me potting mix. Right, so give me a second, I will be right with you. You'll have to excuse the varying light conditions, but it's a little overcast today. The sun goes in and out of clouds, so I'm gonna do my best maybe in post-production to fix it. So let's think about a few scenarios now, because I already know quite a few of the comments you're gonna leave on this video, so I will address them now. First off, if I really wanted to continue using coconut husk, there would have been a few things that I could do to make it work. One thing I could do is not use this type of a pot. This is a cheap nursery pot that, again, for me and my big collection, makes a lot of sense because I would have to spend so much money on proper pots, right? So I'm using these things. So let me just find her. Where did I put you? Okay, this is the orchid we potted in the Orchid Care for Beginners video. This is how you do it, right? You have this wonderful transparent pots with slots. Look at this, no water at the bottom. Very nice, right? So in order to achieve something like this, I would use a pot like this that has slots. Now, in my experience with potting media such as bark and coconut husk even and charcoal, things that are not as absorbent as sphagnum moss, what I find is that it's useful either to have these type of slots that don't really go up. Either if you don't have a slotted pot, put some holes mainly on the bottom section, not on the top, because the first half of the pot, it will get so dry because there's nothing to drag the water up here. So you want to preserve moisture here. What you don't want is that medium to stay in a pool of water like this at the bottom. So I would put aeration holes mainly at the bottom if you don't have a pot that has these slits down. And even in this pot, I would try with a soldering iron, I would try to put even more side aeration if I really wanted to use the coconut husk. If you don't want to use coconut husk and you want to do this mixture, you don't have to do anything because this mixture is king, queen, whatever. This is the best. Right, so I would definitely use that type of a pot, not this type of a pot. Pro, it's a much better pot. Con, it's more expensive than this. If you have 10 orchids, great. If you have 1,000, not so great, you know what I'm saying. But anyway, that's one way I can mediate the disaster that I had here. Another way to mediate it is to add aeration materials in the coconut husk. You can go for bark, or better yet, inorganic stuff such as leca, pumice, sponge rock, whatever. We can add aeration materials to break a little bit that sogginess, let's say, that you will have at the bottom. Furthermore, you can use these aeration materials more at the bottom if you want to take it to the next level, but that's a bit of a hassle, right? So I could have used some leca, sponge rock, things of the sorts in the mix to make it not so water retentive in the end, but not water absorbing. There is a difference. So I could have done that if I really wanted to use this mixture. I could have added even bark, even charcoal, things of the sorts to the mixture, and it would have been much better. In combination with a slotted pot, that would have been much better. And also, obviously, my watering technique, which is so important whenever you grow orchids. It's important to adapt your watering technique to what you have. So my watering technique, as maybe you know, if you don't, I'll link you to the video down below, is to water on the shelf. I don't take all of my 500 orchids or however many I have now. I don't take them at the sink. I just use them on the water them, sorry, on the spot, and whatever is left in the reservoir gets picked up by the sphagnum moss and dragged all the way up, and I don't have one single problem with anybody. Obviously, this watering technique absolutely is not suited for coconut husk or for what I tried to do here, because coconut husk just doesn't drag that water as good as sphagnum moss, is not as absorbent. It's retentive, it retains water in its structures, but it's not so absorbent to push or actually pull that water up through the structures. It just doesn't do that. So obviously the watering technique needs to be revised. I would have revised it. I would have probably gone to the sink and not soak the pot, just run some water through the pot, you know. And maybe in summer I would have to revise the technique again. There are multiple ways in which I could actually make this work, absolutely. And if you're in this situation and you have coconut husk at hand and it's like easy to acquire and cheap and so on, these are a few ideas that you can apply to make it work and to make the outcome not this. I will not go through that. I'm personally not a fan of coconut husk as much, and it requires me to do all of these things that I kind of don't want to do. I'm not going to use it, but I hope that my little role play situation here, my little exercise of imagination, will help you out in better using coconut husk, because it's not a bad medium. And in many countries, it is very affordable and it is renewable. It's great if it works out with your lifestyle. And if you want to make it work, you know, try these things that I told you about. I don't want to make it work, pretty much. So what I'm going to do is use sphagnum moss and bark. And what I like to do is mix all of these ingredients pretty much inside the pot. I don't mix it outside. I should have pre-moistened my sphagnum moss, but I'm a little lazy and in a bit of a hurry because I need to take care of lunch soon for everybody. So, you know, I'm filming. I'm doing my job in the breaks that life gives me, pretty much. So, we're gonna pot this orchid at the same level. I'm gonna try to make sure that I have at least one root inside so that it does have access to moisture. And as I was saying, I'm kind of layering everything. I would love to use only sphagnum moss because that works great in my environment, but I'm still trying to be economical with sphagnum moss since it's a resource that I do not find locally. And you know, I don't like to rely on my viewers all the time. So yeah, Phalaenopsis orchids absolutely work with this combination of bark and moss. So I'm gonna use it rather than just sphagnum moss, and it's gonna be great. Furthermore, with Phalaenopsis, I also like to use slow-release fertilizer, which I have right here. Add just a few beads, just like a pinch. How many? 5 beads? I think there were 5 beads. And top everything up with bark chips because of cyanobacteria. My environment is very prone to cyanobacteria, which is not algae, it's a bacteria that can photosynthesize. And it's not a nice bacteria, and I've had it happen in the past. It affects stems and root tips. So by limiting light, because yes, it's a photosynthetic bacteria, it needs light to survive. So in order to limit its appearance, I'm shutting off the light. I'm limiting light because I cannot limit anything else. Hence why, again, I also use opaque pots. I maybe could use my transparent pots because I still have a few of them. Maybe in some occasions I will, just to demonstrate things, but typically I go for opaque pots because of the cyanobacteria situation that I have happening here. It's the only thing that I can limit. I cannot limit water because I need to water my orchid. I cannot limit fertilizer and nutrients because I need nutrients for my orchid, and plus cyano finds nutrients if it really wants to. The only thing I can limit easily, I would say, is light. So that's why the top layer of bark and also the opaque pot. There we go. And darker colored pot, not white. Right, so this orchid is now potted. I'm gonna go water it, run some water through the pot really quick because the moss was not wet. And that's about it. Let's make the outro with some final thoughts. And I think we're gonna call it a day in trying to find a new potting mix for Phalaenopsis because it's not working out for me, you guys. It's, I don't know, I guess I'm too stubborn and I don't want to change my ways because I would have to change my life. and I'm not in the mood to change my life. Change is coming. Anyway, let's try to not change everything, right? Okay, I'll be right back. Alrighty, and the orchid is done. Now a few more ideas before I let you go. Yes, I did water the orchid, and I know some of you will say, well, hold up, the medium was so wet and the roots were so wet. The last thing this orchid needs is water, right? Wrong. The first thing this orchid needs is water. Look at her, she's very dehydrated. There is a point, I read about it, oh gosh, many years ago. If I will find the article or the explanation, I'll link you to it down below. But I did read at some point something regarding roots. If the roots are waterlogged, if there is no or not enough oxygen around the roots, they cannot absorb water. They can be wet, they can be in water. If they don't have enough oxygen, they do not absorb water anymore. And in that medium, you saw it was so soggy that even if I did have some roots in it, they stopped absorbing water because I suspect they didn't have enough air. They didn't have enough aeration. So that's why the orchid is dehydrated. It can be in water. It doesn't mean it doesn't need water. It doesn't mean it absorbs it. Think about it like this. It's gonna be a little bit of a scary situation. You almost drowned. Yeah, you got saved. Everything is okay. Does this mean you will not drink water for 3 days because water is the last thing you need? No, you still need water. You still need to hydrate yourself. That's exactly what the orchid needs as well. Just because that medium did not offer enough aeration and was not proper for it doesn't mean it does not need moisture. As long as moisture comes along with air, and I've said this in many videos, that's like my motto. You can keep an orchid wet, the medium that is, you can keep it wet as long as it's aerated. You're not gonna get rotting, you're not gonna get waterlogging, you're not gonna get anything because it's aerated. When there's aeration, the orchid can pick up the moisture. And new roots will form and adapt according to the moisture levels in the medium. So the fact that I watered the orchid right now, even if it's coming from a soggy medium, doesn't mean anything. I'm hoping that now it can actually drink the water, because in that medium, it could not drink the water. The roots were waterlogged. It was not aerated enough. So now it is. That sphagnum moss that I added is very fluffy. I did not press on it. I also have the bark, and even if, yes, there's no aeration, ventilation, all of those things, that's not what matters in maintaining things aerated. If you have gaps in between the medium, you'll have air in them. This is not a seal. Sealing off things from air is so hard, so hard. You cannot seal off air from this. As long as it's aerated enough inside, and I have enough, let's say, structures that are not necessarily moisture retentive, it's fine. I don't need extra ventilation or anything of the sorts. I'd rather limit light. So yeah, I'm hoping that the next update on this orchid will be with it in full glory. I'm hoping that everything will be okay now, because this is the setup that I work best with. And if I work best with, they will reap the fruits of my labor. They will do good as well, is what I'm trying to say. Righty, so that's it. That is about it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will still try out new materials and new setups and stuff, because I'm an orchid YouTuber, so I need to try out stuff. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna keep them. As you saw today, even if I will not keep the setup, I drew some conclusions and I told you my recommendations if you want to use coconut husk. Coconut sucks. Okay, if you want to use it, I think those tips are helpful. So that is about it for today. Let's end it here because I blabbed enough, and oh my brother, I need to go. It's so late. I have a clock on the wall, that's why I'm looking there. I need to run. Thank you guys so much for watching and hearing me blab, and with that said, I'll see you next time. Bye.